Hi my dear readers, this is Simona Rich, and in this video I'm going to review one book which is called How to Make Money and How to Keep It. And I don't know if I would be able to show it to you at the same time in this video. So this book was written by Thomas A. Davies, and it's a very old book. Oh, here, 1867. It was written in 1867, so it's a very old book. And I think that I'm going to access it also on my mobile. It's going to be easier for me to review it. So this book was written by a man involved in property business, and he was a millionaire. And although this book was written such a long time ago, it has the wealth principles that are unchanged. And whether you're reading a book that was written a very long time ago or a recent one, if it's written by a person who has kept wealth for many years, and especially those that grew up in wealthy families, they always have the same principles of wealth instilled in them, which keeps that wealth. And in this book, I may not even read out, I did not highlight anything, but I will just go by the chapters and then I will see what I remember from this book, because it's a large one. It has 336 pages, but basically it teaches that wealth principles are the same. They were always the same, and if you know those principles and if you live by them, then you will make money and you keep it. And I love this book because it explains what wealth really is. It's not that you live in a beautiful house and you show off your expensive clothes. If you're in debt for them, if you slave for them, if you have to work all the time and you take loans like in mortgages to get your house, actually you're poor. That's what it explains. Don't buy anything you cannot afford. And most people will live much poorer lives if they listen to this advice. But that's what gives you independence. So wealth is not about displaying the stuff that you got on loan, but about being free from debt. And that's what he explains, that because it was written such a long time ago, he explains that a farmer or a person owning his land without any debt is rich, because he has land, he can live from it and owe no one. So I love this book because of this. It explains, it gives such clarity about what wealth really is. And he explains that a poor person, like, he may be considered rich by people who don't have wealth and they don't know what wealth is, but a person who gets things on loan to impress others, like he explains, this author explains, is like an ostrich hiding his head, but the ugly body is out for everyone to see. So basically he externally tries to paint a picture of that he's rich, but actually for people who see, for people who have wealth, they know he is not wealthy. He's just displaying stuff, but the mind is not changed, behavior is not changed. He is still a poor person. And that's what I find, that poor people like to show off the stuff, and they work so hard to buy what is called by Robert Kiyosaki doodad. It's a thing that doesn't make any money. So instead of them earning money, working hard, and then investing the money for it to start making more money, instead of that, they buy doodads. They buy stuff that may look flashy and may look expensive, but it doesn't make any money. So they don't make the money earn more money, but they just work hard to get money, and then they spend it for stuff that they can't benefit from, though they think that they do, because they display it for other people to see. So that's a poor man's mindset. And rich man's mindset is that he's earning money and he's saving it. A part of it he always saves, and then what he needs he spends on necessities, but he doesn't spend on things that they don't need. Like, if you don't yet make a lot of money, like this author explains, you cannot afford to buy things that you don't really, you can survive without. Like, in these days, that would be television and, paying for such things that you don't really need. And that's how money leaks, and people cannot save because of all these things that they buy that are not essentials. So he explains that the way that you get wealthy is, no matter how much you earn, you have to form useful habits. You have to form habits that later will gain you financial independence, and that is saving some everything that you earn. Every time you make money, you have to save some part of it, and you have to decide how much you can, depending on how many essentials you have to spend money for. So maybe in your case, it could be only 10% that you can save, but mostly people would actually be able to save around 30% or even more if they cut out from their lives things that are not essentials. Like, in our times, that would be spending money on lattes, daily lattes. They take they are expensive. So if you cut out eating out, for example, and instead you save that money, it actually accumulates, and then so you basically keep saving, and when there is substantial amount, you can actually straight away put your money into savings bank to earn interest from. And if you don't touch it but you keep increasing it, actually you already are gaining your financial independence, because after like 30 years or so, the interest itself will be like your pension. So you have that still lump sum in your bank account, and now you live off the interest. But I don't know about, maybe in certain places you can get high interest, I guess in Japan maybe, but now, for example, in UK this is not the case. Interest is very low. Like here in this book, it's as I told, it's written in 19th century, so the interest was really high. You put your money into savings account and you get 5, 6, 7% interest of your money. That's actually amazing. This is so safe, and that's it. You're gaining your financial independence. You keep putting your money into your savings account, and then after around 30 years, you're done. It's finished. You already have enough to live without putting any further money. So this is so safe. But for example, in UK, as I'm checking now, it's like interest is very low, but still there are ways to increase your money. For example, by investing in real estate. But again, you have to, like this author explains, whenever you're trying to invest in something, you have to be so extra sure that it's going to work out. So it's best to invest in safe things, in things that have proved over the years to make money, not to lose money. And mostly, unfortunately, people are seduced by investments that promise large returns, but they are risky. And that's what this author explains, that's how people lose money. Because of their greed for fast and big returns, they are willing to put their money into risky, unverified ventures, get rich quick schemes, and that's how they lose money. And if they don't have that greed for money, but they think logically and they are very conservative about where to put their money, that's how they win. So in certain countries at this moment, that would be investing in properties. Like, it would be the same. Okay, maybe it requires a little more work, but it's pretty much the same as putting your money into bank account, savings account, and then getting after like 30 years you're getting paid like pension. Every month or every year you get money from the money. So the money itself, your money made extra money for you. So it's passive way of making money. This is amazing. It has to be not overpriced. You may buy, for example, a very run down or something like this. I think it's called like a shabby flat, and then you do it up, and then you pay for the real estate. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's called real estate agents. So they basically rent out your property and you're getting money on a monthly basis. So this is kind of similar. You put the lump sum, you invest your money into that property, and then it starts making money for you. And that's what is called making money from your money, making your money work for you. And that's how this author explains financial independence is gained. And it's all about habits. It's all about what you do with the money that you have. Like when you receive money on a monthly basis, it all comes down to what you do with it. So if you're not spending it on doodads, on things that are not essential, on things that doesn't make money, like buying lattes, going out and things like this, but if you, every time you get money, you put a percentage of it to save, and then you pay for the essentials, and you strictly cut down on everything that you don't need, that's how you gain financial independence. And this author also explains how to increase your money through your work. So whether, it doesn't matter whether you are employed or whether you have your own business, your money is bound to increase if you are treating your customers well. Treat the customers the best way that you can, and I can attest to that. It works 100%. And I see big mistake of that companies make. They focus only to acquire new clients, and they don't appreciate their old clients. And I experienced this myself with when I was like I'm using hosting company for years, and they just don't care. So I might switch because of this, because they just don't care. They offer good offers only for new customers, neglecting what they already have. So they don't maintain that good relationship. And it's so important, if you have regular clients, and even if you're not self-employed, if you're working somewhere, just be nice to people, because you never know what will happen. Maybe that person, you might be, for example, doing some job you hate, but if you're nice to your customers, you never know, maybe you're some business owner comes to be served, and you are your best self, and you leave a huge impression on that person, then he will offer you another job. Eventually you will get more pay, whether it's in another job or whether it's in your current job, because your employer notices that you work very well, that the money that you are the person responsible for bringing most profits to the company. So it always pays off to be really good to your customers, to treat them very well. For example, when I'm doing astrology chart assessment, I focus all my strengths on doing each one of them. And what happens is that people are impressed. They send me messages telling how accurate it is, and that they can't believe that this is even possible. And what happens then? Then I get more sales. Then they recommend me to their friends. Then they order additional charts to do for their children, for their husband, for their sister, for their brothers, and so forth. So it always pays off, always, to be nice to the customers that you already have, because that's how you gain more popularity, more love, more money. It's just it so pays off. And he gives example of some people. This author gives example of some sellers thinking that they will win by making a quick sale but not being genuine about it, and then people find out that they were cheating, that they have cheated them in some way, and then the word spreads and that person's business goes down. And when you're truthful to your customers, and if you really try to help them, that word also spreads, and then you get more and more customers, and that's how you start making more and more money. So it's about being nice as a person because it's a good thing to do, but it's also that it just gains you everything. It gains you popularity, it gains you respect, it gains you more profits when you are like this. So this author explains how to work in different spheres in the best way that you can. For example, he discusses how lawyers are supposed to treat their customers, how salespeople are supposed to treat their customers, people in all kinds of service industries, what they are supposed to do to increase their salaries. And it's all explained in such a detailed way. That's why this book is so long. So I don't know whether I should summarize anything else that the book says. I guess I should also mention, and this is one of the last chapters. I'm actually still reading that chapter. I think it's one of the last chapters in this book, and it basically explains that although around 95% of businesses fail, around 95% of banks thrive. And statistics might differ today, but it's not going to differ that much, I guess. And what that teaches is that he says you need to pay attention to where banks invest, how they make investment decisions, because they know how to make the money grow. And if you want your money to grow, but you want to really understand how it's done, then you have to follow the strategies of investments that banks follow to make your money grow. So this is a very good advice, because as he mentions, most businesses fail. They don't know how to survive, but banks do. So you have to really check what they are doing, where they're investing, and follow that in order not to lose money, in order to make your money grow. And that reminds me in this book that he also said that most businesses fail like it was in 1867, so it is today. He told that around, I guess, 95% of businesses fail, and that's exactly the case today. Most businesses fail. They are not skilled enough. So people think it's really nice to be self-employed, but most people have no skills to do so. And that's the same as the opinion of Gary Vee, the current millionaire. He is now worth 50 million, and he says the same things, that in order to be self-employed, in order to survive as a self-employed person, you have to be so much aware of yourself, and you have to be so realistic, because many people, they have ideas that don't work, and they don't know themselves, and they fail. It's not like working for someone, doing a bad job 1 month and still getting paid. No, if you have your own business, all depends on you, and you have to have so many skills in order to survive. As shown by the statistics, around 95% of businesses fail. And so he said actually that people who have their own lands and live from their own lands have much greater possibility of becoming wealthy than people who go to cities and become business people, because that's the time he was writing when that trend was starting. It was big to, for farmer children to leave their farms in order to get rich in cities. And he just explains that actually most business people fail when they leave their families and go to work in trades or anywhere else. They fail. And he even showed the accounts of banks, how people come, move to cities, start their own bank accounts because now they will become rich tradesmen or so forth, and then they fail. Most people become bankrupt. They die drunk because life is difficult. And he explains that actually if you have your own land, it's so much easier to make money from it, and you also live off it. So you always have food because land is yours, and you can grow animals, you can grow vegetables, and then you can sell them and so forth. Actually, I know times changed, but it's very interesting, to check such statistics that actually farmers were much more likely to die rich than people who went to cities and put their tried their all to become self-employed. And the same applies even today. Most businesses fail. So that's why I love reading books like this, such old books, and they contain the same truths. Those truths apply today as they did apply at the time of writing this book. So I loved this book. I highly recommend it. It has so much more advice for people in different industries. I'm sure you will find the industry you're employed in explained there in this book. And although yes, some examples may not apply today, but just if you keep principles in mind, not looking at specific examples that might apply for 19th century, but just keep in mind the principles that this author explains, then you will find this book highly benefiting you, because wealth principles don't change. They remain the same as they were in 19th century or before. So I hope that this was useful to you. Thank you for watching. Take care.